Amplify, the podcast for accounting firm growth. I'm your host, Angie Grissom. Today, I'm excited to dive into the impact of marketing on firm operations. Here with us today is Kathleen O'Toole. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at PKF O'Connor Davies. She is a multifaceted marketing and communications professional with extensive experience in driving market share and revenue increases at leading financial and professional service companies. She is a powerhouse. Kathleen is a leader, collaborator, relationship, and consensus builder, which is so important, with proven success in multiple arenas, including thought leadership. And we are so thrilled to have her. Kathleen, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Angie, it's a delight. Thank you so much for having me. I've been a fan of your work for many years, so I'm really going to enjoy this today.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's jump right in. So, Kathleen, describe the role of marketing in your firm. What does your internal and external team look like?
Sure. Happy to start there. Essentially, boiled down to its essence, our role as marketers is to help attract, develop, and retain prospects and clients. And we do that by making sure we're able to be found and that our digital channels and our marketing collateral tell a great story about us, make a compelling case to use us. And then we prioritize the client experience so that our clients understand greater value.
That's excellent. I know things have changed a lot. Tell me more about some of the work you all do.
Well, I'll tell you, maybe that'll come across in how the team is comprised. So I have about 16 people on the team, and they are dedicated against areas including digital and content practice coverage, the client experience, as aforementioned, public and media relations still play a key role in our business.
Sure.
Events and proposals.
That's huge. You know, there have been so many changes, Kathleen, over the last several years. It seems like it's faster than ever and everything's different, which has impacted your team, obviously.
For sure.
So how has your marketing team evolved in recent years?
Yeah, this will come as no surprise to anyone who's in this industry, listening to this call, but we have been focused more than ever on our digital side, our tech stack, our digital capabilities. In order to meet the client and the prospect where they are, you have to have an A game, bring an A game in that area. But, still the one-on-one meetings are important. So we have to make sure our team has the right materials, either to send ahead, take with, or, leave behind. The game changes frequently enough that, we have to be able to pivot at a quarterly notice, sometimes a monthly notice, right? So I look for flexible, eager, and energetic people when I have a vacancy on the team, because that's what it requires, quite frankly.
I love that. I'm sure you have so many talented people working together on your team, and you impact the firm in so many ways. You all do such an amazing job. One of the big issues, if not the absolute biggest issue that we have seen in the profession, is the whole talent challenge, the recruiting, the retention, the poaching of people. And I have heard over the past year, especially, some amazing work between HR departments and marketing, really joining forces, which I think is awesome, and working together to help impact retention, recruiting, culture. So how is marketing helping in recruiting and retention, and what impact has it had?
I'm grateful for the question. You're 100% right. That is where, we have really spent an extraordinary amount of time of late, because it's so important to the firm. In many ways, marketers are company firefighters, right? We run to where things are, smoking, in need of service.
I love that analogy. Oh my goodness, yes.
And I won't say that it's not a discredit to the HR group. Certainly our team is exceptional, and it's one of the things that makes working with them so fun. But certainly as the firm storytellers, we volunteered to get more involved. And so we meet regularly with our HR team, most particularly right now, the campus recruiting folks who
Okay.
need some help developing some thematics and the story along with that, just some design and support and some, fun things that'll compel people to come to our booth or table at, whatever university. So that's been really important. Likewise, we work with our DE&I team, we're, we make sure their activities are published, that they're well represented on our website and our digital channels. That's something, within the last 2 years, we've really, rushed to. Also, when it comes to retention, during the pandemic, marketing and HR aligned ourselves tightly with regard to the pandemic. And in fact, it was marketing that conceived of and led the daily production of something we called News to Get Us Through. And it was a digital newsletter delivered to all of our team members and to keep team members connected to the firm and in hopes of keeping morale high, if indeed a newsletter can do such a thing. But we had great feedback to that. And we had included HR staff and senior leadership of the firm. We met daily. We talked about the issues. We asked our team to identify both local and national heroes of note that resonated with them. Oftentimes, we've got really compelling stories about family members. In fact, one of our partners' daughters is an EMS team member, and she was on the cover of Time. She had an extraordinarily difficult job. It saw a lot of death. But it was a really compelling story and, just kind of connected us all in a way we never expected, quite frankly. So we did that. We shared work from home tips, health tips. We shared fun stories, sometimes animal related that had global, reach. People came to rely on it. And if we were late on some days, which happens to all of us, on occasion, people said, "Is it still coming out?" So,
So they were reading it. They were looking forward to it.
They were reading it. So, that was a lot of fun. And then marketing also raised their hand to say, "Hey, we think we can help with this year's picnic." And we got some kind of blank stares about that because nobody was getting together then, but we did it digitally. And that was probably one of the most fun things we have done here, at least in my tenure. So we arranged this whole thing. It was a 2-hour extravaganza, if you will, from the seat at your home office, at your very desk. We sent people a stipend and invited them to order in their favorite meal and picnic along with us. We did video vignettes of some of the people who were celebrating service tenure and the like. We had a motivational speaker who had seen some really hard times in his life in the military, and he told us how he got out of that, how he found a better way. It was very inspirational. And then in the middle of it, and this was back at the time when Zoom was having these Zoom bombers, if you remember, people were breaking into meetings and things got strange.
Yeah.
We, on purpose, but without announcing it, we dropped an artist in the middle of the background as our featured speakers continued to talk. And so this artist starts working on a painting, and all of a sudden, a lot of people are writing to me and to our managing partner and saying, "Are you guys aware we're being Zoom bombed?" And we ignored it deliberately and kind of, just trying to keep from laughing. But at the end of it, this artist had painted a scene from our last year's picnic. And so it became more obvious as her work progressed. And it was really, really fun. And to this day, we got reprints of that painting, and they hang in our offices. It was just kind of a special moment when people realized, wow, that's the place we go to every year. And she had us playing games. We had sent her pictures ahead. It was a really, really fun thing to do. So
I love that, and I love stories of how different departments work together for the
yes,
common good, because one of the big complaints I've always had being in consulting, working directly with firm leaders, managing partners, but having a marketing background is the disconnect between strategy and a lot of the other, segments, operational. And I love to hear stories like that because you all bring so much talent and perspective and insight, and it can be used in things like the firm picnic and different activities. And I love those stories. I think those are excellent.
no, thank you. It was so fun to do, so rewarding, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. I've got really personal notes afterwards, especially from the survivor story. The keynote speaker really moved people. It was privileged work during such an important time.
Sometimes I think we forget that we are in the people business
Right.
because we're busy and there's so many deadlines and things like that. But we're in the people business with our team members are absolutely our number one clients, and our clients are so important. But we're human, and so if you can connect with the humanity, those are the things that people remember. Those are the things in 20 years that they remember. The artist painting in your picnic, in your virtual picnic and getting a stipend and all of those things are so incredible because you forget a lot of details. So I love that you've created some of those experiences because retention's so important. They want a differentiated experience in the firm and marketing is perfectly positioned to help that.
It is, and I couldn't be more sincere by saying that is the fun part of our job. Frankly, so much of it is, but that was fun.
I
And
love it.
again, word got out. We were the CHRO and I at the time were interviewed by Accounting Today because of the uniqueness of it.
I love it. I'll have to look that
That was
up
just
and see
icing
that.
on the cake.
I love it. Well, this has been such a great conversation, Kathleen. I'm looking forward to diving right back in after this brief word from the Association for Accounting Marketing.
Whether part of a team or a department of one, individuals responsible for growth in the accounting profession join AIM to advance their careers and contribute at a high level to their firm's success. Members of AIM receive access to resources to help in their job and establish their reputation as a skilled professional, a network of peers who face the same industry challenges and can offer solutions, and a wide range of professional development and networking opportunities. Join AIM today. To learn more, visit the website at accountingmarketing.org. Again, that's accountingmarketing.org.
Okay, welcome back. Well, Kathleen, sometimes there's a little bit of confusion around marketing versus BD. Some people think, are they the same thing? How are they different? How do we know? Explain how marketing and business development, which are both very important, work together in your firm. Do you have an example of what that might look like?
I do. We have, or I have a saying that we never dance alone. So marketing is always going to be able to bring an experienced perspective to the equation, but we are not the people who talk daily to the prospects and clients. And, while we have an informed point of view, we need to hear the other side of that so that we can do our best work. And I will tell you, we are linked at the hip, really joined at the hip with the BD team. So, there are daily, sometimes multiple calls a day to talk about the issues at hand as the firm identifies new areas, of opportunity for us. We're in constant communication. So we have a great relationship with a very well-skilled team. In fact, we combined during the pandemic. We have always been thought leaders, but we ramped that up into Mach speed, if you will, and we became
Yeah.
prolific in the space. We're putting out hundreds of articles and webinars combined. We were so prolific, in fact, that a client tweeted out that PKF O'Connor Davies is by far the safest port in this COVID storm.
Oh,
We've had
wow.
some, reaction to our work, but we partnered on webinars that resulted in thousands of leads. And I think this is a pretty good story. I have a director of marketing who's beyond capable and able to do many things and many things well. And so she built a lead management system and using the data provided to us by our CRM team with regard to these leads. And she was able to categorize them, identify the leads with contact information, write some responses to those leads, and then we turned it over to our partners in BD who executed it.
Love
It
that.
was really a nice partnership. So a good story there of the two teams working together. You can kind of think of us as twins, really.
Yeah.
Maybe not identical, but close enough.
That's a great example. I know that throughout the pandemic, nobody really knew all of the answers to
Right,
PPP, right? It was a moving target. But
right,
those firms that were proactive and getting out there what they did know, and becoming a safe place had the most incredible, most profitable, best years ever. And those that were afraid lost some opportunities because they were then seen as maybe being behind the ball a little bit. And
yeah,
so I love that example. And it also allows you to position yourself as a trusted advisor if you're the one out there communicating.
yeah.
And that's what we're working towards with all of the professionals. So that's excellent.
Absolutely, Angie. And I'll tell you, we did two things that continue to pay dividends for us. One is at the start of the pandemic, almost the very day that we were all starting to work from home, I spoke with Kevin Keene, our managing partner, and we devised a plan. And we said we were going to do these things. One, call every client and say, we don't know what's coming, but we will tell you this. We got your back. We're going to help you figure it out.
I
You are
love
not
that.
alone. We called every client. And I still get goosebumps to this day, just understanding some of the responses these calls netted for us. But from a principal perspective, right? We weren't thinking about money or profit at this time. We were thinking about those clients for whom we have fabulous relationships, and we're worried about them. In fact, on occasion, we have embargoed our thought leadership to strictly clients. There's a benefit for being a client.
Sure. Yeah.
It's our best thinking. But at this time, we decided to take the guardrails off and offer our best to the general, business population. So in addition to calling them, we would also write as soon as we heard something, whether it was our SALT team or our, tax team or financial services group, whatever we heard that we had an opinion on that we could offer that could be of value, we wrote about it, or we had a webinar on it. In fact, we had to convert software almost overnight because those crowds got to be so big. So that
Wow.
was really work that was rewarding as well.
Kathleen, I love your passion around what you do. I mean, it is palatable.
Thank you.
And it really is. And I love that. I feel the same way about the work that we do. And so I recognize that in you, that you're proud of that. You're proud of your team and that
Yes.
you guys are doing some really, really incredible work. And we've, of course, been very familiar with your group for a while. And it's evident the impact that you all are having. And hopefully it will be encouraging for other firms when they hear some of the examples of the collaboration in your team. Final question. Anything on the biggest impact marketing has had in your firm, or what advice would you have for others to see similar success?
Yeah, great question as well. Thanks, Angie. We're talking about essentially firm culture here. And I'd like to think we've had a really big influence on what we do. And it's another area that we truly love. And that is essentially, we showcase the BD and community involvement activities by our team members. We celebrate them and encourage others to do the same at the same time. So for instance, we do a monthly newsletter called In the Marketplace. You go online in our intranet, you submit some of the activities you've done, whether it's been attending an event, speaking at an event, marching for a cause over the weekend. And then we'll feature you every month. And it is the most widely read email in the firm. And as soon as I press send, I'm like, I'm sure I missed something. And of course it comes back, you missed this. And then we pick it up, we catch it for the next one.
Well, that just means they're paying attention.
They are paying attention. And you know what? And rightfully so that we're celebrating these people who, miss a dinner at home to go to an activity to develop business, or, give up a weekend with their children or the children's sports to, run in a 5K that is important to maybe one of our clients. And there's a lot of that going on. And certainly we want to encourage more because, we are a firm built on our relationships. We have 130 years of it. So marketing is happy to do that. We also just recently launched a video series about the people you work with. And essentially, It's a half recruiting tool and a half celebration of the what, and more importantly, the who at our firm that bring this specialness to it. So talk about a fun project, but it was an opportunity to sit down with people of every rank, every position in the firm, and say, what makes you get up and come to PKF O'Connor Davies or log in to PKF O'Connor Davies every day? And I have to say, there's such compelling stories about mentors and friends and, some of the things that the firm does that makes it easy for people to, have a balanced work life. Really fun. And those are online. People can go in and see them. A lot of call outs to unsung heroes too. So we really like that. And then we similarly, along the same lines, we just completed a series called Better Together, where we feature firms that have just recently joined us and their counterparts that are, let's say, legacy PKF O'Connor Davies, and they sit down at a table and they talk about how they complement each other's strengths. And that has been very meaningful to us. Not only is it a great opportunity to share our new resources with the world, it's also a nice way to celebrate each other's work and in a very respectful way. And
Love
then
that.
This is kind of funny. We regularly celebrate the PKFOD partners who share most often the information of the firm's social media information, right? So they go online. We have this service that aggregates all our social media posts for a week. They go on and they share it. They can share one or all of the items. And those who do it most regularly get what we call an Atlas Award, which is a thank you for carrying the firm on your social media backs. So it's a really cool looking award.
Love it.
Going on. And that's just a fun way to recognize that effort as well, because, that's taking 15 minutes out of your day, sometimes 15 minutes out of your week even, but we're grateful those people who amplify, if you will, our story out there
Perfect.
all the time.
Kathleen, I love that. And this is what this podcast is about, amplifying that. And you are so seasoned and experienced and inspirational. And I know everybody listening to this podcast is going to take one or two or more ideas from you. So keep being spectacular, keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely a trailblazer in that work. And it has been so great chatting with you. You've provided some incredible insights around the impact of marketing on so many firm operations and accounting firms. So thank you very much.
No, my pleasure.
So
Thank you.
how can our audience best get in touch with you or find out more about your work?
People are welcome to contact me at O'Toole without the apostrophe at pkfod.com. I am on LinkedIn, and I'll share that to accompany the recording if that matters. But
Yeah.
happy to talk to anybody who's interested in hearing more about this. It's a fun subject, or I wouldn't have done it for this long.
It is. It keeps it interesting for sure. I love it so much. Well, thank you. Well, this is it for another episode of Amplify, the podcast for accounting firm growth. Thank you so much for listening in. Let us know what you think about this episode on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want to find out more about Amplify and all of our episodes, head over to accountingmarketing.org. You'll find the podcast under publications. If you'd like to learn more about me and my company, the Rainmaker Companies, head over to therainmakercompanies.com or email me at Angie@therainmakercompanies.com. See you next time.